Welcome back to the channel, guys. Very nice energy here. I'm your host, Adrian, and we just want to take a look at a video that's super ridiculous. As you guys know, I'm putting together my inverter system right now for home energy backup. I'm super excited. I've been doing this for about, I don't know, a couple weeks now, and I'm going through the process and I'm learning a lot, gathering information from all different sources here. But I ran across a video that I gotta share with the channel. This was kind of insane, and I'm from Mississippi, and so this one was kind of near and dear to my heart. Let's get into it. Let's take a look at this video, man.
His electric bill. A Mississippi man says he shelled out nearly $100,000 for new solar panels for his property. But he says the company he hired to do the work seemingly vanished. We investigate in an all-new Fox 8 Defenders investigation. Inside his 3,000 square foot shop,
I am putting an rear axle bearing in it.
Jim Dutton works meticulously, restoring vintage cars.
I changed it from a Ford 8-inch to a Ford 9-inch rear end.
Now, the number one red flag that came up to me at first was that Jim works on cars. So, and he's probably been doing this 20, 30 years. The fact that if you've been working on cars, you must have put together some wiring before, whether it be ignition wiring, battery cables, connectors, things of that nature, radios, stereo, speakers, I don't know, a bunch of stuff. I've done a lot of car work in my lifetime, and I've done some wiring for radios exactly. And if you're doing wiring for older model Fords like he is, hot rods, rat rods, stuff like that, you gotta have some type of ingenuity about you that would lend you, that would be like a transferable skill when it comes to putting up solar panels and inverters. That really didn't sit right with me. I feel like Jim had a lot of skills already. If he would have kind of like even done a little bit of research, he probably was further along than he probably thought he was. And he probably didn't need the solar company's help.
Is a labor of love. So too is his property in Carriere, Mississippi.
That half is heated and cooled. This is the shop area for my cars and toys.
Last August, Dutton says his son expressed interest in keeping the property in the future.
So I said, I need to make it as efficient as possible for them to maintain it. I was called out of the blue. It was one of those calls from Trend Solar.
Trend Solar is a Covington-based company that sells solar panels.
Now, if you know anything about Mississippi, now he probably in the Jackson area. Louisiana is only 80 miles away from Mississippi, because you're right on the border, and so it's not uncommon that a Louisiana company would contact Mississippians. That's not uncommon. Now take a look at these panels here. There's a lot of panels, and I think somebody counted about 30 panels. As I'm going through the process of getting my house together and getting it ready to actually do solar and run my house strictly on solar panels, I bought a EG4 12K PV, and I soon realized that that was not enough energy for my entire house. So what it did was it made me rearrange my viewpoint of what is important for me to power and what is important for me to have on the inverter. So I quickly found out that I really didn't. And my house is about 2,900 square feet, so I really didn't have enough inverter to run my whole house. So I was gonna have to make some decisions, and I still do. And I think the most important thing that I'm gonna make a decision on is actually powering the HVAC with my inverter. That's kind of the way I want to go. But if you look at this house here, that's a lot of solar panels. 30 solar panels is about, and these are probably 400-watt solar panels. It's about 12,000 to 15,000 watts worth of solar panels here. That could power a lot of things. And in a shop, And he said it himself, one half of the shop is already powered and AC and cooled. He was trying to get the other half to be powered and cooled and just like he had on the other half of the shop. So I didn't understand why. I mean, I get that you're trying to overpower your system, overpanel your system, and that's great. But let's keep going here. There's a lot of details that we've yet to come across here, and the solar company does a couple things that are very interesting here.
So they called, and all of a sudden I said, "Oh, yeah, that's a good idea, right? If I can cut the
It's a lot of
electricity
solar
bill down,
panels.
that was anywhere between $400 to $600 a month.
They look nice
That's a
though.
good chunk of change." So I looked online and pulled up Turn Solar, and it looked like a legitimate business.
They
And
always do.
one of their partners, I guess, as they call it, on the website said Panasonic something, and they rated them as in 2023 the best installer.
Now that's very important too. They were recognized by Panasonic in 2023 to be an elite installer. One thing, Panasonic don't make panels no more, guys. They're out of the solar game. And a lot of these big companies are getting in and getting out of the solar game because why? The margins are not there. By the time you make the panel, you're gonna have to link with because they don't have their own solar company or installers. You're gonna have to get with your a solar company. So you've already lost the money when the margin is slipping away. You've already lost the solar panel margin. You're losing the installation module margin panel on the panels. And now you also got to bring in an electrician to actually hook up the panels into your home panel. You actually got to get an inverter as well because that's DC power which your panels can't use. It has to be AC power. So there's a lot of steps along the way where these companies are getting in the solar game and they're thinking they're going to turn a quick profit, and lo and behold there's enough information on YouTube and galore that you can do all this stuff yourself. You don't need a solar company to come out and install your inverter and tell you how it works and put panels up and things of that nature. You don't need any of that. So Panasonic is no longer in business. And by the day, these solar companies, solar panel producers, are going out of business because the margins aren't there. They're not making the return. They're not making enough money. Are they making money? Yes. Are they making enough money? Time will only tell, but I don't think that they are. And they're getting out of the game real early at these days.
In the region.
Within days, Dutton signed a contract with Trend Solar and signed up for a loan with Mosaic, a lending company, to help pay for the $99,000 job. According to this contract, Trend Solar told Dutton he would need 47 solar panels on the roof of this structure.
That's
and
crazy.
lines run under the driveway to connect the panels to Dutton's main house. The plan was for the panels to provide energy to both the main house and the shop. Dutton says Trend Solar told him it would send an electrician after the installer put the panels on to wire the project.
They installed the panels within 3 days. I was like, wow, this is cool. They weren't kidding, 4 to 8 weeks. Then it was radio silence.
Dutton says he called repeatedly and wondered where the electrician was. 3 months later, in December,
I had an electrician show up finally. But the problem is they didn't have an approved plan, so they just wired it.
according to Dutton, the utility company providing
insane.
electricity to his home never approved Trend Solar's plan for the solar panels.
So that's a big issue that I have because now these days you don't actually own anything. The fact that the electrical company can put something on your house that you have a mortgage for, and tell you what you can and can't do with the electrical running through your own house, it's insane to me. It's the most un-American thing that I could ever think of. And we're going the same direction when it comes to gaming. You look at Nintendo, you look at what the terms of service have become when it comes to gaming. When you buy a digital game, you look at Steam, uh, GOG. When you buy a game, you do not own that game. You are simply renting it. Now you're paying full price, but you do not own that game. And that's one of the most frustrating things that I've come across in a long time. You don't actually own anything. So the fact that you put 47 panels on your house and you have to get an approved plan, even though, and they've made no mention of selling back to the grid, because I'm pretty sure Mississippi probably does not have one-to-one net metering. I probably could guarantee they don't have it because Mississippi is a struggling state and they probably don't have the money to go along and pay each homeowner who wants to sell them power. So they've made no mention of it, but I would be hard pressed to see the fact that if they are going to do some type of net metering here. So you got 47 panels on your house, and where's the inverter? Where's the batteries? You charged him $100,000 for an Enphase system for 47 panels. Now, see the Enphase, it looks like an inverter there, but I'm not sure what that is. But let's keep going.
Standard practice for that to be done in Mississippi before any work begins. This email lays it out. David Blackledge, a manager with Cooperative Energy, wrote in February, I conducted an on-site visit to the Dutton residence. To be clear, these two jobs should not have been installed by Trend Solar because they didn't make it past the initial utility review stage. The installation method used has created multiple potential safety hazards.
One of the safety hazard is because all of the panels are on my shop and 20 some odd feed the house, they did not put a cutoff switch on the shop for those panels. So his concern was if I had a fire in the shop and the firemen went up there to cut a hole in the roof and they cut into the panel, it was hot. And there was absolutely no way to turn them off other than go to the other side of my property and hit the house switch.
Dutton says
That's crazy. That's insane. The fact that you would wire 20 panels to be always hot is insane. So the only time that you wouldn't be getting power coming from those wires is at night when there's no sunlight. And even then, you run a potential that the moon does put off light, and you still can be accruing voltage through your solar panels at night. That's one of the most insane things I've ever heard, if there ever was something that was insane. The fact that you will wire solar panels with no disconnect switch. Now, a disconnect switch, you're talking about $40. You're talking about $40 to $50 worth of an item or material to be safe. That's it. I mean, you're talking about $40 of a material, and if you get any inverter on the market now, EG4, Solarc, Lux Power, whatever, any inverter that you get on the market right now is going to come with a PV disconnect switch. It's one of the main things to keep you safe, keep you from getting electrocuted by solar panels. But to not put one in at all, it's just negligence of the highest order.
also discovered issues with the wiring done by the electrician hired by Trend Solar.
So here's an example. They didn't even cut it long enough, so I've got exposed wire here.
Blackledge's email details that a Trend Solar representative messaged him asking for permission to install the panels. Problem is, they were already installed. Blackledge then said he couldn't get a hold of anyone at the company when he tried to follow up. Because according to Blackledge's email, the installation was done incorrectly and posed safety hazards, the panels can't be turned on. In other words, they don't work.
It's like they vanished.
They're gone. I have phone numbers. They won't return my phone call.
According to its website, this is where Trend Solar is located in Covington. When we showed up here to try to track down somebody with the company, we couldn't find any Trend Solar signage on the door. But other people who work in this office complex told us Trend Solar actually closed months ago.
I bet
Turns
they
out
did.
Dutton isn't the only one trying to track down Trend Solar.
We've reached out many times through our processes. We've been unsuccessful to get them to respond.
The Better Business Bureau says it's received complaints about Trend Solar.
All the complaints have been the lack of customer service, communication that's been happening.
Trend Solar's website was recently taken offline.
But look at the money that they got to begin with. Now you got 47 panels, 400 watts. You talking now? That's what I got. I got 400-watt panels. You talking I got the Hyperions, 400 watts. Now you got 47 of those. Let's say that they're $150 each. That's only $5,000. Where the rest of that $95,000 go? You telling me you got $95,000 worth of conduit? You telling me the inverters is $95,000 worth? And now always keep in mind he didn't have any batteries. There's no batteries on his system. Zero. So you telling me they got away with sending somebody out, putting up $5,500 worth of panels, some conduit, probably was another $200, and now they're gone. They ain't nowhere to be found. Just keep going.
Although it's still listed as an active company on the Louisiana Secretary of State's website. We tried to find the three people listed as co-owners or co-founders, Trey Clark, Sharon Urbina, and Rain Rogers, but we couldn't get a hold of them. We called Mosaic, the lending company that's still sending Dutton bills.
Did you think you were duped?
Yep. And I'm stuck paying, a note from the loan I took out.
Despite repeated attempts to get a comment, no one from Mosaic ever called us back. Mosaic also has Better Business Bureau complaints lodged against it. And there's an alert on the BBB's website letting consumers know that attorneys general in a number of states are suing Mosaic for deceptive trade practices.
A government action or a government warning is definitely a red flag to utilize with a business.
Dutton says he feels like he's hit a brick wall. The last time he's been able to get a hold of anyone was in March, when Mosaic told him it was referring him to a third company who would work to fix the job Trend Solar started. But today, he says he still hasn't heard a word from that company or heard back from Mosaic.
Do you have faith that Mosaic is going to make this right?
No.
No.
It's been 9 months since he signed up for what was supposed to be a 90-day job.
That's
I'm
crazy.
still out $100,000.
Must make you angry.
To say the least, yes. I've had my fair share of bad contractors, but this is probably the worst.
It takes the cake.
It's not, you're not talking $10,000, you're talking $100,000. I think it's up to me to fight it.
Jim Dutton hired an attorney as he tries to figure out next steps. On the Louisiana Secretary of State's website, we discovered one of the owners of Trend Solar, Rain Rogers, is listed as an officer of another solar panel company called Pelican Power Solar. That company was just registered with the state in February.
I like what they did there. At least at the end of the video, they said exactly the next company they went to, just so there's no more victims. And the moral of the story, guys, I'm building my system. I got an EG4 inverter, 12K PV. That's $3,500. I'm buying panels when I can. Right now, I got 4 panels. They're 400 watts each. They're bifacial. They're Hyperions. They're about $115 each. And it's just transparency. They're on the ground right now. And I'm still pulling 1,300 watts each day. Now, tomorrow, or by the time you see this video, maybe, I'm going to go get 6 more Hyperions. And now I have an array of about 4,000 watts. Now, let's just say, for any reason, that array is going to pull about 3,000 watts at a time. My system is only gonna max out at 12,000 watts. Now I can overpanel it. I can go and get 30 panels. That's only $3,000. So 3,000 plus the 3,500 for the 12K PV, and I'm using eco-worthy batteries at $850 a pop. That system and just do some quick math here. It's not that much, guys. Like you're talking 3,500 plus maybe $3,000 worth of panels, and then that's 6,500. Now I'm probably gonna get up to about 6 batteries. I got two now, but at $850 a pop, it's not that much. So you're talking about a system now that will probably max out at about 9 to 10, maybe $12,000, and be able to charge my Jeep, charge my electric Jeep 17 kilowatts per day, and also give excess power to run the HVAC system for my house. You're talking about a max of 9,000. Now, keep in mind, I'm doing a lot of the work, so that does help. But at some point, these solar companies have to be reined in. And as we go along on the channel, we're gonna continue to talk about these things as they come up in the news and stuff like that. But just do as much as you can before you start calling these professionals, because I've had my run in with professionals who that I wanted their help. I'm asking for their help on the project, and they're not willing to help me because there's not enough margin in it. And that's just the honest truth, and that's just the reality of it. They're not willing to help you because they're not going to make enough money off of it. If you're willing to do some of the work, you can save literally thousands of dollars. Most solar installs are about 20 to 30, $40,000, and don't even talk about the Tesla ones, which are insane. But that's been today's video. I hope you guys come back for more, and yeah, see you next time. I don't know what this intro is, but we'll work on it. We'll get better.